Some good news this morning. Remember Charlie the missing owl? Well, he's back where he belongs. He escaped his cage during our brush with Debbie, and after weeks of searching, he was finally spotted. Mariah caught up with him this morning at the Raptor Center of Tampa Bay in Brandon.
After days of searching, dozens of volunteers, and really thousands of flyers, little Charlie, the great horned owl, is back at home where he belongs. I've got his mama, the president and founder of the Raptor Center of Tampa Bay, here with me today. Can you just talk about how he's doing since being out and about for so many days?
He has lost a lot of weight and he's very weak. He's thin. And so he's having to really be fed a special diet because he is so skinny. We're giving him fluids with a needle, but he's wanting to catch up on some much needed rest.
Can you tell us about his rescue story too? Because, you know, this is not a horned owl, a great horned owl that grew up in the wild. So that was really why we were so worried about him out there.
It really is. He came from Lake Wales Park, and that's how he got his name. Lake Wales, who was the Prince of Wales at the time, Charles. So that's how he got his name. He was one of three. He had two older sisters, and there was they pushed him out of the nest. He came to us when he was only a couple weeks old. We re-nested him in a platform. We had a tree climber put a platform up. There was a V underneath the platform, and a feral cat started getting up underneath there. And the photographers who were photographing his whole family went nuts. And they said that the cats were, you know, doing all this stuff. And so we went out and checked and felt that the other two birds were independent of the nest at that time. They were out in the tree. We took the platform down. And at that night, that cat went up the tree when we took that platform down, as opposed to coming down the tree.
Okay.
The next day, we started getting pictures from photographers of him with that eye closed. So.
And he is blind in one eye.
Yes, he is.
Okay.
We waited a couple days. He did come out of the nest, fell, hurt his shoulder. We thought that obviously not hurt, maybe as bad as we thought it was, but 4 years later, he is able to get a little bit. I don't know if anyone ever really saw him free flying really well, the open sky. I think he was going one backyard at a time, trying to find his backyard.
And that's how we knew that he probably didn't get that far away from home. Really found less than a mile away from where we're standing right now.
Less than a mile, and that's one thing. When we got the firm picture on Tuesday and knew it was him, we started looking and we knew he was close, and so that's why we initiated such a massive search in a small area, coming back to that last known place where he was. And sure enough, he was found, you know, as he flies, as the owl flies, he was only found about 5 blocks away from there.
And so thankful that he was found, and it really was a community effort. I mean, Charlie brought people together that hadn't talked before ever, and they became, you know, volunteers in arms, knocking on doors, hanging up those flyers, all with one goal: to get him back home to you. What was it like to see that community response that Charlie himself is responsible for?
Well, it's heartfelt. You know, today we have so many things with humanity that kind of, you know, turn us off, but the amount of people that helped. There were people out on their bikes, there were people helping with flyers, there were grocery store delivery people with Instacart. We didn't know that were handing out flyers with the groceries, but we knew that we had to raise awareness. All of these neighborhoods have backyards that have 6-foot high fences. We felt he was sitting in someone's backyard, and truly that is exactly where we found him.
We are so happy to see him back in your arms, back at home. We know he needs a lot of rest, so we'll let you get that rest, and you get as many mice as you want now, Charlie, because you're back home with your mama. Reporting here in Brandon, Mariah Harrison, Fox 13 News.
Lovely, lovely, Mariah. Thank you.
An update on a beloved owl who disappeared 2 weeks ago during Debby. Volunteers spent hours every day looking for the great horned owl. And finally, someone spotted him in their yard yesterday, and he was returned to the Raptor Center of Tampa Bay.
He's a rescue who was raised in captivity, so he really didn't have the ability to hunt or fish. Well, now we understand he's feasting. And Mariah joins us live with more on all of this. Happy ending on this one. I love it.
Such a happy ending, Russell. You know, after days of searching, dozens of volunteers, and really thousands of flyers, little Charlie over here to my left is finally back home. We've got his mama here, the president and the founder of the Raptor Center of Tampa Bay, Nancy Murrah. How good does it feel to be able to just have him back in your arms?
Well, it's a huge relief that we found him and that we found him alive.
So let's talk about how you found him. Can you just tell us the story about what happened to his enclosure, where he was being kept, how he got out, and then how you were alerted to where he was?
Well, there's a water door on his cage, and there was debris that was blown up against that water door that opened it just enough for him to be able to get out. And he escaped from his enclosure. We realized it. We started searching for him then. We started searching with thermal imagery at night. We did that for several days, and the storm had obviously blown him away from here. We couldn't find him, and so we initiated a large search with the public through our Facebook page. And just very heartfelt how many people have come out, and volunteers have helped us flyer the area. Over 2,000 flyers. We knocked on over 500 doors and asked if we could sit in there, can we look in your backyard? We knew he was close. Statistics say that birds of prey that escape enclosures typically stay within a mile of where they were. And sure enough, we found him within a mile. And through days and days of searching, we just became, the whole community came out and helped. And it was someone who called us, who had seen the flyer, called her daughter and said, there's a large owl in our backyard. She videotaped it, and it was blurry, but he has a tendency to keep his head kind of cocked to one side. And we saw the owl was grounded. The owl ran around the corner. It didn't fly away. And
thought,
well, it was 8:30 in the morning, and she didn't call us till 2. So I'm like, oh no, here we go with the search again in the same area. We've been saturated in searching and searching and searching. And so I got in the car, called the search team, and said, hey, let's head over there. I was the closest one, less than 10 minutes from here, and she had gone back out in the backyard and said, he's sitting right there in my neighbor's fence.
And there he was.
And there he was, and because he knows me, and he's been hand-fed his whole life, I held a rat up and said, let's go home, buddy, and he was all for that.
Home.
He was
happy to
all
be home, too. And, you mentioned the community really came together to find Charlie, get him back home. I want to talk to Monica Kelly here. You got the map of where you guys were searching. I just want to talk to you about what part of Charlie's story, because you two didn't know each other before all of this. What part of this story just really latched on to you that you knew you really had to get out and help?
I sent a message. How can I help? I've been involved with many rescues over the years. I was an animal control agent for several years in North Carolina, and we just started talking, and then she sent a message like he had been spotted, and I was like, that's it, I gotta go. So, and we're like best friends now. Hi. Right, Charlie's home.
Love it. So everybody is Charlie's best friend at this point. He really did bring the area together. We're going to get more on Charlie's condition because, he's hand-fed. He was raised, in this environment. He wasn't raised out in the wild. So we're going to get more on just how he's doing a little bit later on in the show. But Russell, Laura, I just know that everybody who chipped in, who shared his story online, who knocked on those doors, who put up those flyers, so happy to see this little guy back home. And we did wake him up for a nap. So he's being really good for us this morning, too. Just happy to be back where he knows he's going to get fed.
Love it. Love it. He looks great.